IrishBoxing.com, here with Adam Bood. Adam, you were just showing us something there.
Ring Magazine have got Andy Lee at middleweight at number 7, but they've got him from the UK.
Do you more upset about the UK or the number 7?
I don't know. Yeah, he's from Ireland.
Just in terms of the fight, I seen an interview after where you said it was a special moment, but you couldn't put your finger on why. Has that dropped on you yet?
Yeah. I'd have to start going through what I understand about the Andy Lee story, and about my relationship with him and what we've been doing over the last 2.5 years. It seemed to be that we were just in a room with locked doors and that there was never going to be an opportunity, even though he was a guy striving every day to improve as a fighter, and I could see every day it was all coming into place, and I believed without a doubt that there was no way that Matt Korobov could have beaten him. A world middleweight champion from Ireland. My stepfather's from Ireland. He's the reason I got into boxing. There's so many things. Emmanuel Stewart and there was so much.
I think I read that the reason your stepfather brought you to see a fight, was it?
He shoved me about 3 o'clock in the morning. He shoved a packet of biscuits in my hand when I was 11. Dragged me out of bed and took me to the Odeon Leicester Square to watch Tommy Hearn's Ray Leonard in 1981.
That's how you could. Just in terms of training, Andy, was it a hard 2 years in trying to change styles, or
hard in the sense of trying to break through old habits, but not hard in the sense that he had a guy that was determined to do whatever needed to be done, gave me total faith, and was a joy to work with. So although theoretically and technically it was a difficult job, or felt like a difficult job at times, that seemed to fall into place about 6 months ago. It was never difficult to get up in the morning and go to the gym because of the type of fellow that I'm working with.
And in terms of working with him, you were saying trying to get him to be a bit better on the inside. I know Andy was saying it's not all about the right hook, but the right hook, was that something you focused on bringing into play?
No, not at all. No, the right hook comes out quite naturally. Thank you very much. No, it's if you look at, for example, Andy's 6'2", Matt Korobov's 5'10", but if you look at the fight and pause it, you'll see that a lot of the time Andy's head is lower than Matt Korobov's. So the first thing is we had to give Andy different heights. Second thing, give him different distances and the emotional capability to cope with people being up close, where his whole career he'd always tried to keep people as far away from him as possible. And also working on the left hand, so that his jab and his right hook is already a world-class weapon, but his left hand is coming on a treat. There are a few that whistle past Korobov's chin. There was one that hit him on the jaw that judded him in the 3rd round, and there are a few that whistle past his chin that didn't quite do the job yet. But once those missiles start to get redirected, he's going to be a dangerous two-handed fighter.
And then we've got a more lethal weapon on our hands?
No, you got. Well, my plan is that you got a guy who can box, punch, take a punch, fight long, fight close, and control where he is and where you are in the fight, and just to strive for perfection.
And just in terms of, Andy's probably been a little bit, as usual, calm, reserved. Over the last 3 or 4 days, have you seen him celebrate, or can you see what it means to him a bit in a closer proximity?
Yeah, in my kitchen when we'd gone through a bottle of tequila, it started to show out a bit. But he's a cool fella. He's a cool cat, and he doesn't, and he has his own ways of indulging how he feels. It might not be screaming and shouting and ripping his clothes off in the high street, but you sit with him for 5 minutes and you could just feel this satisfaction oozing out of him, and it's really nice.
And what would you like to see next for him? I'm not sure, there's talk of Billy Joe and there's talk of other big fights, but what would you like to see next for him?
We'll see. I mean, I spoke to Frank Warren yesterday, and we'll see when the Billy Joe fight makes sense. Andy's the champion, so he's in a good position in terms of deciding where it takes place. But Billy Joe is the mandatory. We always knew that from the start. But even if it was a voluntary, Billy Joe might be the fellow that we would choose anyway. It's a fight that is going to be there, and we're going to enjoy getting ready for, and we're going to enjoy Andy taking part in it.
You don't have a sort of a date in mind where you want to be back out again, or?
Ideally, I think probably between middle to the end of March, which gives him a good 3 or 4 weeks downtime now, so that we start training, say, the middle of January, and that gives him 8 weeks of intense work. So maybe a couple of runs over Christmas.
And finally, we can't talk without asking about Ryan Burnett and how you're getting on with Ryan.
Ryan's He's a tenacious so-and-so. Yeah, frustrating year of him not fighting. Our plan for this part was really good. Firstly, he and I had to get used to working together, then get him some decent sparring so I could test him, see how things would go along, and then get him 2 fights in the space of 7 days. Both of them he ate up.
The first fight was...
First one was a first round, and the second one was a 5th round stoppage, which was a really good performance for him. So he can have a nice Christmas with his girlfriend Lara and his family in Belfast, and then January it's time to kick his ass and start improving him.
And what would the goals be for him next year?
Next year?
Over the next year?
Well, it's going to be interesting because he's so talented, and so he's very strong, very quick, very clever, hits hard, with a lot of experience as an amateur, and seemingly unbounded potential as a pro. So I've got to find the questions for him to answer, and every time he answers them, we'll take a step forward. Who knows? He is definitely the type of fella that within 2 years I would expect him to be close to the world top 10.
2 years?
Yeah.
Lovely. I appreciate you talking to us, Adam. Appreciate it. Thanks.